Hi, I'm Cindy Henry. I am the founder and director of Los Angeles Therapy Network. I wanted to start a video kind of blog for people who might be interested in learning a little bit more about trauma or dissociation or any of the other topics that maybe come up with this. So this blog is meant to be more of like a kind of like a journal, I think, in some ways. Something to just kind of get my thoughts out, and I thought maybe other people might benefit from hearing some of my thoughts as a therapist and some of the things that I've encountered over the years of being a therapist here. So tonight, I think tonight was a interesting night. I had a group tonight, and a trauma group, and unfortunately one of the members no-showed, which I think if you've never been a part of a therapy group, it may seem like not a big deal, but it actually is a huge, huge deal. And one that every time something like that happens, I have to process with groups. I run a lot of groups, so I know kind of the ins and outs. But one thing that really strikes me about it is how, at least, I specialize in working with women's issues, but how much women don't realize how big of an impact they have on people or one another. I've had other groups where this problem has happened, where somebody, for whatever reason, decides they don't want to participate, and they stop coming, and they don't tell anybody. They just stop because they're avoiding, which is something that a lot of people do. But when it's a therapy group, everybody makes commitments to one another to be a support system for one another. And when somebody doesn't come and just stops coming altogether, it undermines everything in a whole group. I mean, everything. And it's really kind of heartbreaking to watch how it affects things. But it always kind of strikes me just how little we think we matter, and how much each of us, even if we're really quiet and hold ourselves back, how important we are to one another. And there's so many of us, especially of women, that believe we're pretty insignificant. Many of us make ourselves invisible, or we try to. Often we succeed. But we matter. Our presence when we're not there is felt strongly. And I think in a therapy group you really find, you really experience that. More than anything, it's really, the impact is huge. I mean, just huge. Like, everybody in a group all of a sudden questions, they thought they were really committing to other people, and then when one person stops coming, even if they haven't been there very long, or kept kind of quiet, everybody's always impacted, and they always think, well, maybe other people aren't investing the way that I was investing. Am I the dumb one that I overinvested? I think we always are always afraid, like, I am more committed than you are, aren't I? And you start to question whether or not you really should be there, or if other people care the way that you cared. And it's always really, to be really honest, I always get really mad. I always get kind of pissed off when somebody does that, because it's just, I really try to prevent it, because I know how undermining it is. I know how destructive it is. And it's really hard to watch people question, I was committed, and maybe I shouldn't be. I I thought other people were committed to this. I'm trying to open up and make myself vulnerable and make myself, challenge myself to grow and make myself, expose myself in ways that I don't in any other place. And then when people just don't show up, it's profound. It's really profound. It always makes me so sad. Mad, too. Mad at the person. Not because I don't understand. I do. I understand that everybody's got their own process, their own journey. I just wish that people understood that they matter and they really, really, really impact one another. And I think as a therapist, especially a group therapist, I do a lot of groups along with individual couples, that we matter more than we'll ever know to one another. We always like to pretend that I don't matter that much, they don't really care that much, in a few weeks it'll be fine, the group will be fine, or this group of people won't, this group of friends, it won't be a big deal. People will pretend, they'll go on, but like even in some of my groups, they'll bring up members that were there 2 years ago because they made such an impact on them in some way. So I guess that's my first video blog. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Hopefully it's going to get some of that thought off for me. All right. Good night.